Retail tenants could soon get more data on how much other tenants are making per square foot before they sign leases with their landlords. And that would mean more stable rents, which could allow a greater variety of shops to stay open. A bill passed in Parliament will make it mandatory for landlords to share such information, levelling the playing field for lease negotiations. Heidi Ng with a report.
Monthly sales figures of shops and total floor area are some data points that could be made available to tenants. This means they can negotiate better lease contracts instead of worrying if they're paying more rent than their neighbours. It's why 10 members of Parliament rose in support of the bill to better balance the bargaining power between landlords and retail tenants. But they asked whether more could be done.
Landlords could also share how they derive various costs, like base rent. This would help tenants to appreciate the extent economic factors impact retail rents and provide them with lead time to communicate fee increases with customers.
This bill compels parties to renegotiate the lease agreement when tenant is hindered from performing its typical business activity due to events beyond their control. Does the bill provide clear guidelines and principles for conducting these renegotiations, ensuring equitable outcomes for both parties involved?
As circumstances would really differ for each lease, it is thus not feasible to issue guidelines for what would be commercial arrangements between the two parties.
Other members had concerns that some parties may try to game the system. That's as the new regulations will only apply to tenants with a minimum tenure of 1 year.
Does this allow for landlords or tenants to escape compliance with the leasing principles by structuring their lease as multiple renewal period of 11 months, for example?
If any party suspects that their lease terms are being deliberately shortened to circumvent compliance with the code and the bill, they can report the VAT Tenancy Industry Committee. If the FTIC receives complaint that a party regularly engages in practices or behaviour that are against the spirit or against the requirement of the code, it may seek further information from the parties and it may publicly highlight egregious or non-cooperative behaviour and non-compliance behaviour.
Ms. Low adds that the code will evolve over time to take into account industry needs. The new regulations will kick in next year.
One trade association representing over 500 retailers says the retail lease legislation will help smaller businesses more. And that's because these players are usually unable to negotiate fairer contracts by themselves, especially when they're up against bigger landlords. So the new law will help add vibrancy to the retail sector in the long run.
With this, I think the SME will, be able to be more agile in a way that they are rest assured that they are given a fairer playing field, in the rental environment. They are able to take more proactive in taking their business into the next level, perhaps having more stores and perhaps having different types of stores.
Well, still, Mr. Koh remains cautiously optimistic. He says it will take time for the implementation to translate into real benefits, especially for those in the retail and F&B sectors.
In the long run, I think let it sit and implement it for a couple of years and see. I think it's moving in the right direction and doing a check and balance as we move along.